on to our next panelist and very important panelist, Mr. Chandrakant Mishra. He is currently the president of Religare Health Insurance Company. He is a veteran in the insurance industry with over 25 years of experience. He is responsible in leading the group sales business along with the government, rural, and international business. So, Mr. Mishra, I think coming back to our topic, how can we all stakeholders make this mandatory health insurance sustainable and viable? And it is very important that we collaborate and we ensure the viability of this initiative. So, over to you, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you, Gaurav. And I think after a very informative talk from Mr. Sampath Kumar, I think, and Sriraj, Vikramjit, we now, I think I will just put forth my thoughts into a few lines and then I will elaborate what I want to intend to say. So, health insurance as a financing tool, I think now is established. And what we are talking about is how to take this financing tool to the missing middle. When I say missing middle, I mean, I think 2%, 3%, that's debatable. What is covered by employer, employee, MSME, your individual retail buyers, what is covered, what is the penetration that has happened by insurance industry. The third segment is the lower segment of the population, which is mostly financed by state government, central governments, which today we see in the form of coming as Ayushman Bharat, broadly encompassing most of the state and central schemes and taking care of the BPL population and little bit above them, depending on various states and wherever it is. So good part is Ayushman Bharat itself, I think it's a government scheme. It could have done in two modes. Can be through a supply side mode where actually increasing hospital care, increasing facility, but they thought through as a process of insurance. I would not say that insurance in proper commercial insurance as we call ourselves, but the modeling is like insurance, whether it is in a trust mode, whether it is in a hybrid mode, it's an insurance model. Either in the trust mode, they are the insurance themselves, or they utilize services of insurance company in the insurance mode. In the hybrid mode, they do both. So that clearly establishes two things. One, I think for efficiency of financing healthcare, insurance has established itself in some form or other. So answer to you, I think if we have to reach out to the people who are not yet covered or how to reach out to the missing middle, it has to be on healthcare financing through insurance mode. Now, I think coming to mandatory insurance, what mandatory insurance can be on a various, say, there can be either a defined cover or a basic a universal cover defined. The basic minimum will be there by regulator, government, or some agencies, and then you have a clustered approach, or you can have multiple providers providing that, or you define one product, which will be like in Dubai and all what they do. They have defined a basic product, and all the providers give that mandatory health insurance. Things like that, it can be multiple. But the basic for a large country like us, and for the large missing middle that we are talking about, the basic requirement is multiple providers of insurance. I would say multiple insurance companies have to step in to build that gap. Agree, it has to be mandatory in the sense that the person needs to have an insurance and has to be provided. So it can be in any format. I'm not going into it. It can be Ayushman Bharat Plus, where actually that plus will be provided by insurance company, or in a pool format. It can be many ways and means it can be thought about. I'm not getting into it. But to address, how to make this mandatory insurance a long run sustainable thing, we need 3-4 basic things. One, I think we have to understand who are the stakeholders, and each stakeholder's interest has to be addressed and aligned. In the forms, I think my previous discussion, starting from Mr. Bidej, was on this line. I think alignment of stakeholders' interest. That's the first and foremost. The insurance company or the insurance provider interest would be that not to make losses. Somewhere it has to be financially long run sustainable and doable for that. Two, for the healthcare providers also, it has to be there that they also should need to understand that if they align with the product, if they align, if they give a good service to the customer, to the ultimate beneficiary, that their commercial interest is aligned to it. That's very important part of it. So in the process, there might be there can be thought that it can be some package rates which are acceptable, some treatment protocols which can be made acceptable. Things like that has to be worked it out so that the trust comes back, the efficiency comes back, and mandatory to become successful. I'll come to these letters, but I think the first and foremost requirement that whole insurance industry has to address to make this long run and sustainable is customer, ultimate customer. He has to have trust, and for that he needs 2 3 very very basic things. One is, it has to be all information has to be honest with him. It There has to be a choice of him to buy from X, Y, Z, multiple. I think the carpet bombing he should have. I think that makes it long run. That makes it sustainable. Third is, it has to be completely easy for him to buy one. The documentation should be with him. Utilization, he should be completely free. Utilization should be, he should be aware how to utilize it. It should be ease of operation, complete. And foremost is, the product has to be simple. He has to understand. I don't think at the level that we are talking about, the product has to be cheap, efficient, ease of operation, and simple products. And to answer, I think if we have to reach out, we cannot, I think insurance companies, whatever they have, will have to, this product can only be reached out to the ultimate customer through various distributors. I think many people will, I don't know, it can be the RRBs, it can be the BCs, it can be the cooperative banks, it can be micro financing organizations, it can be self-help groups. These have, it has to be like insurance inclusion, health insurance inclusion. It has to reach out to them. It has to be very, very simple. And the whole process of KYC has to be hassle-free. We also understand this ticket being for that middle segment, where actually their ability to pay is limited, and it has to be simple, and it will have a low ticket. So the acquisition cost, what we call about, I think the distribution cost has to be low. So the only answer here is technology. Only adapting, I think good part is now that this meeting is happening through Zoom, is technology, where actually we are interacting, we are discussing at a very, I think the cost is minimal. What Ayushman Bharat has taught us, what RSBY has taught us is that there is technology where actually we can go back and do it. What financial inclusion is teaching us is, I think today you have microfinance organizations which actually are reaching out and delivering microfinancing through technology, cashless transactions. So similar things has to be there. The hospital has to be seamlessly integrated with insurance company. We have the technology. I think we have to reorient ourselves, technology, to reach out to the distributor, to reach out to the healthcare provider, to reach out to the customer. So I think, to going back again, this technology has to integrate all the stakeholders, and only technology will bring transparency. So because this has to be very, very widespread. So any remote hospital in a tahsil or a district should be able to reach out to the, technologically can connect through the insurance company. There are 2 3 basic things which has to happen. The beneficiary walks into the hospital. The hospital should be able to identify, yes, this is the beneficiary of X insurance company, and these are the coverages, and can give cashless. The moment it happens, the moment actually the technology enables the hospital to make a cashless facility, the beneficiary sees the benefit of it, and I think with the integration of technology, every stakeholders are integrated, and then the delivery happens. I'm sure this becomes a long run sustainable day. Third, I think to add on to it, I am there. I think lot of us spoken about out-of-pocket expenses. I think Siraj very well explained it, that when we talk about out-of-pocket expenses, it also has huge amount of OPD. And going forward, I think when you are talking about this missing middle, and I talk about accepting his healthcare financing through insurance mode, and then I tell him, no, 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 I only cover your secondary and tertiary. Your, I think somewhere again we cannot make this product simple. It with the technology we have to move on to the next level of how to address the consultancy, maybe a teleconsultancy somewhere. I think it is done now. COVID has taught us how so many hospitals have come into teleconsultancy. I think somewhere we have to address that. This teleconsultancy will also address a very big problem of rural, semi-urban India, actually providing them the right guidance, right access to the proper doctor. Quacks are a big threat today also. I think a lot of structure has will happen. The hospitals will also see value. The hospitals, a district level hospital, a tahsil level also hospital will see value of operating from that location, because he will be aware of a catchment area of a substantial population which can access that hospital care.
Thanks. I think very important points, Mr. Mishra. And I think you have rightly said that technology will play a very important role. Transparency, technology will bring transparency, and technology will actually is going forward. Technology is critical for the whole industry as a whole. When physical interaction will not happen, I think digital is the way forward, and technology, on the other hand, will make everything transparent and process. It will bring process excellence. So I think very important